Welcome to the Mile High City. Our Super Bowl season continues on CBS. The Steelers with a 6-game win streak taking on the Denver Broncos. Hello, friends. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson. One of the great scenes in the NFL, partner. Our third game of the week. It's going to be fun.
It is going to be fun, and it is a great scene, and it's a big game. If Denver has playoff aspirations, this is where it's got to start right here today.
Well, the Steelers have deferred, and will kick it to the Broncos. And it will not be returned. That's pretty customary here at altitude. And we're going to bring out, after the Boswell touchback, Case Keenum and the Broncos. Fresh off an impressive win last week against the Chargers. And it was Keenum, the University of Houston product, who led them down the field with no timeouts from his own 8-yard line to set up the winning field goal by McManus to win it at the wire. So they're 4-6 on the season. To your point, Tony, they started the week one game out of that logjam. 5 teams came into the week tied at 5-5 for that 6th and final spot. Handoff up the middle, and the Steelers able to meet Lindsay after 1. It's been a Broncos season where they've lost a lot of close ones. All of their home games have been really tight, decided by 4 points or less. And their offensive lineup, you look at that offensive line, Tony, they've had to rework it because the interior 3 are all out with injury. They basically are playing what amounts to 4 trained tackles and a guard playing at center in McGovern.
Yeah, but those guys played their best game of the year last week. So, it's another challenge for them this week. But if they play as good as last week, watch out.
Did not allow Keenum to get sacked last week as they go again to the ground out to the 30. Another run by Lindsay, the undrafted rookie, who has been just sensational this season. Going to be bringing in another audience. We're 2 plays into the game. Like to welcome those of you just joining us. Denver getting the opening kick, facing a 3rd down. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson. The Broncos at 4-6, taking on the 7-2-1 Steelers, who have won 6 straight games. As you look at Bud Dupree and that defense, ready to chase after Case Keenum on a passing down at 3rd and 5. Keenum gets it away with pressure. And again, he had to unload it, and that was intended for Hamilton, the rookie, and Joe Hayden was right there with him. 3 and out for the Broncos.
Just a 5-man pressure. Blitzburg, that's what we're calling them, Blitzburg. They send 5 a lot, and you see right there, Wilkinson gets beat by Hargrave, makes the ball come out, and the strength of Pittsburgh is coming after the quarterback, and the weakness right now so far has been protection and drop back game for Denver this year.
Hargrave last week had 2 sacks. He's becoming quite a force, not just a nose tackle like people want to label him. And there's the fair catch by Switzer off the punt from Wadman. A punt that traveled 46 yards. Let's bring out Ben Roethlisberger. Tony, we were in Jacksonville. What a comeback win it was. Down 16-0 with 17 minutes to go. He led them back and scored the winner with seconds to go on a rush.
Only a veteran could do that. To have the game that he had through the first 2.5, 3 quarters, you got to stay in it mentally. He came back strong at the end and really, some really difficult throws, carried that football team. And really, that's the game they're going to look back, I think, if they get on this winning streak and it goes all the way to the end. That was the one they should have lost.
So for those of you joining us, in progress, the Steelers won the toss and deferred, and now the first snap for Pittsburgh comes out of the gun, well protected for Ben. His pass caught by Antonio Brown for a gain of 14. I'd like to welcome another audience just joining us in Denver as the Broncos and Steelers are underway. The Broncos receive the opening kick. 3 and out later over to Pittsburgh. And the Steelers' first snap a moment ago was a 14-yard pass play. Roethlisberger to Antonio Brown. Steelers leaders of the AFC North and winners of 6 straight. Take the handoff to Connor, and again, it's a pass play over to McDonald, the tight end, who's having a big season for them. That's a gain of 9. And you see the Steeler offense. The thing to note is 76. You see him at right tackle. Okorafor, a rookie out of Western Michigan, gets to start today as Gilbert's out for a 5th straight game. And Filer, who had subbed for him, is up, but he is not starting. It's going to be Okorafor.
That's the matchup to watch, because Von Miller, who you see walking down on the top of your screen, that's going to be the guy who's got to block today.
2nd and 1. Quickly over to Brown, and Brown splits the defenders, picks up the first, but a flag at the line of scrimmage. One of the matchups inside of this game is Antonio Brown against Chris Harris Jr. What that would look like.
That's going to be a good one today. Chris Harris is playing as well as any slot corner.
Illegal formation, offense. Only 6 men on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty, repeat, 2nd down.
So Tony Corrente and his crew will back up the Steelers 5, and there's Mike Tomlin in his 12th season. Here's the Bronco defense, and a lot of familiar names, plus the rookie, Bradley Chubb, the 5th overall pick, number 55. Watch out for him. He's having a fantastic start to his pro career.
You see the empty formation, but you got the influence of the tight end there. That's the matchup on all these rushers.
2nd and 6. Roethlisberger, a couple of pump fakes, and now he gets rid of it. And it is caught with a flag in the secondary. Smith-Schuster with the grab.
Well, they talked about Denver, the defense. They had the plaster, they call it, which means you stay with your receiver, not just for a second or 2 or 3, but Roethlisberger, pump fake, move, pump fake, move, pump fake, move. You got to stay with them. They call it plaster, where you just ride them all the way around the field.
Illegal contact, defense, number 51. His penalty has been declined. The result of the play is a first
Problem
down.
is, if you plaster too hard, you get a penalty. He obviously didn't let him go down the field.
So all that time led to that infraction against Vance Joseph's defense. His D coordinator is Joe Woods. And 3 plays, 3 completions so far for the Steelers. And there you see Woods, who has strong ties with Mike Tomlin. They were together at Minnesota and at Tampa. From the Denver side of the field, Roethlisberger open across the middle. Smith-Schuster wasn't quite ready for it.
Well, this is going to be Smith-Schuster's going to come across the field. Roethlisberger just throws it a hair early. Smith-Schuster's job there is he can hook up or he can keep running. If there's nobody in front of him, right off his helmet, bing. If there's no one in front of him, you keep running as a receiver on the crossing route. If there's a guy there, you hook up and the quarterback throws it right on you. They were both caught in between. Was he going to hook up or keep going?
They got there so fast, Smith wasn't ready for it, but Schuster was. And had some heat. 2nd and 10. And here's Connor with the catch and the screen. And they get the ball in the hands of the passing game to him early. He had a couple of drops last week down in Jacksonville. And I know this is something they didn't really emphasize with Connor this week, but they mentioned they were going to try to do something like this early, get him in the passing game.
No, and I like it. I mean, he had, for those who didn't see it, he literally had 2 passes that were an extending of a down or a drive on a 3rd down, and then a touchdown pass at the end that can win you a game. And those are really hard on a young player. But Coach Tomlin said, we don't need to go over and talk to him about it. If I felt like he was down all week, yeah, then I would. But now this kid, he's upbeat, he's ready to go. Just move on, we won.
3rd and 3. Pass for the first down, and they're going to move on with a new set of downs thanks to that little move by Samuels. Jalen Samuels could have been tackled short of the first, but he was able to skirt the tackle.
Roethlisberger recognizes the coverage, and Stewart's a little too far back upfield and had to run 10 yards downhill and gets caught. Samuels with a good move up the sideline.
Really high on Samuels, the rookie taken out of the 5th round from North Carolina State, where he was a teammate of Bradley Chubb.
Got some talent coming out of there, I guess.
On 1st down.
Oh, another pass coming.
Yep, that's Brown throwing it. And over the head of Samuels is all they could do is laugh about that. AB not exactly accurate with that one.
That was a touchdown, and he missed him. I want you to watch AB. This is where quarterbacks have to deal with. You're going to throw this, he's open, but you know you're going to get hit. And that's what makes it hard. And that was a walk-in touchdown. He was wide open. Great design play there.
Second and 10 from the Denver 30. Steelers driving on their first possession. Stay up top and incomplete. That time intended for James Washington. So they've run 8 plays so far, and they haven't run it once.
Which is surprising because, to me, this is really a really good game for us to realize who Denver is. It's kind of tough because they've had a couple of games. They've played the toughest teams in the league. And they've gone against the Chiefs twice and played them better than almost anyone.
Played the Rams.
And any of their wins. And then they played the Rams 23-20 and lost. I mean, if they had a different schedule, they could be 6-4, 7-3 easy.
3rd and 10. And Roethlisberger's pass off the hands of McDonald, who looked around for a flag that doesn't exist. And it was Shaq Barrett who was crashing in on Roethlisberger before the throw.
And you see the heavy coverage. Parks just playing underman, they call it. But it's really the pressure that makes this ball come out. And Barrett's bearing down on him. But that was what I was talking about. For them to come out and pass this much, the Broncos lost to the Jets. That's the big anomaly on the board.
It's a 48-yard field goal. Simmons came over the line and blocked it. That's exactly what he did a couple of years ago down in New Orleans that won a game for him. Blocked it. Willie Parks was able to return it for a touchdown back on that occasion. And that's the 4th block kick of the year. That's Justin Simmons, who blocked a field goal attempt from 48 yards. And again, he was the one his rookie year back in November of 16 at New Orleans Saints with about a minute to go, attempting a tying PAT. He leapt over the line, blocked it, and it was returned for the 2-point play by Will Parks, his teammate. And here's a pass play through the hands of Emmanuel Sanders. And you might be asking, can you legally do what Simmons did? There's all this language now, Gene Steratore, about jumping over the line and making contact with the snapper.
This is legal, Jim, and the reason it is this defender is lined up at or near the line of scrimmage as a defensive player. He is not using his arms or body to create leverage and gain a height advantage by using that. It's just a normal leap in the A gap, and because he is stationary at the line of scrimmage at the snap, that is perfectly legal.
Okay, so 2nd and 10, Keenum. Able to connect this time at midfield to Sanders. Didn't work on first down, but it does on the second. Gain of 13.
Sanders sees the pressure and breaks his route off a lot faster. That's a veteran receiver who's come around a long time, and it allows Keenum to get that ball out. That route's supposed to be 18 to 22 yards downfield, but good job recognizing by Sanders.
Sanders, their leading receiver, with now 61 catches on the season. A lot of inexperience, though, in the rest of that receiving corps as they go to the rookie Lindsey, thrown down after 3. They traded away Demaryius Thomas a couple of weeks ago, and they have really come up with a banner rookie class at Denver.
Yeah, they have. And Lindsey, you see right there, is playing outstanding at wide receiver. When you let go of Thomas, you're doing that because you like the other guys. And Sutton has really stepped up.
Deshaun Hamilton, we just said Cortland Sutton. There's a pass to Hireman, who's open. And Hireman's inside the 20.
Fantastic, lining up in a fullback position. Hireman gets outside and runs basically a wheel route. And Bostic just gets a little bit crossed up as to who he had as 3 guys were going in the same area.
And the Broncos operating quickly from the gun at the 18. Keenum again looks right side and connects for just a short gain. Back to Sanders for 2. It is update time. Let's go back to the studio.
Nothing like a relationship between the quarterback and his tight end, Andrew Luck, to Eric Ebron, 14-yard corner route TD. Luck to E. Brown looking like Romo to Witten. Back to you guys in the studio. Game tied at 7. Jim, Tony,
All
and
right,
Tracy.
Nate. Thank you. So Ebron, who had a 3-touchdown game recently, Luck's on fire as this pass is thrown out of desperation to get rid of it with the chase on and in the area of Sanders. This Andrew Luck revival is something special, what he's been doing.
Yeah, it really has. And Frank Reich deserves a lot of credit. They're better on the O-line. Their scheme is really pretty unique. They're doing some good things that people are going to start copying, and Luck is starting to show people, you know, hey, y'all forgot about me. Wait till I'm healthy. They just need to keep winning, and people will start believing each and every week. And I appreciate you, Nate, with that shout-out. That was pretty nice.
Those two teams that we just had in the update are two of those that are game up on the Broncos at 5-5. Here's a 3rd and 8, completed. Down to the 8 or 9 yard line is Freeman, and we'll check the marker.
Yeah, this is going to come back. They're asking right now whether or not they want to decline it or keep it, but you've got to take them back here if you're Pittsburgh. You don't want them to get a 4th and 1.
Illegal block in the back. Offense, number 60. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, 3rd down.
Called on Connor McGovern.
You know what's interesting about this old line is their ability, and you see McGovern right there, hand behind his back. Happened just before that on TJ Fort, LJ Fort.
But you're saying about this offensive line has been completely reworked.
Yeah, the putting tackles in at the guards, theoretically you should be really good in pass protection. And this will be a great test because no one blitzes more than Pittsburgh. There's a good chance you see an extra guy come on almost 80% of the snaps.
Well, you'd think they would throw it, but instead they toss it to Freeman on 3rd and 18 for only a pickup of a couple, bringing out McManus for the field goal try.
You like that call? A little safe.
It didn't look like it had much of an opportunity on the short side of the field.
I understand you're trying to get closer for the field goal, but you can do the same thing. They're on a slant. I mean, they're going to play soft. They're not giving up a 1st down. You already have a field goal attempt.
We picked up 2 yards, and here's McManus, who in a matchup in a divisional round against Pittsburgh 3 years back was 5 for 5. 41 yards. McManus with the kick, and it is good. Broncos strike first.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Allstate, reminding you that football season is mayhem. Pepsi, the official soft drink of the NFL. And by Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing.
And Brandon McManus, good from 41. He's now 15 out of 18 of the year. I mentioned that 5 for 5 in the divisional round against the Steelers in 2015. It was a postseason where he connected on all 10 attempts in that Super Bowl winning season. Only to see the next year Chris Boswell break his record in the postseason with 6 field goals and a playoff game against Kansas City. So we mentioned that there was a block field goal on the Steelers' first trip down the field. It's the 4th of the year by the Broncos. And watch Justin Simmons and company do what they do so well. Yeah, that's almost a facsimile of it there against Baltimore, that 3rd one, and then the one today.
Yeah, and that's not good when you see something on tape and they do it again in the same season with the block kick. That's not good. Give Tom McMahon credit. That's really impressive throughout the whole year to have all that.
First run of the game after 9 pass plays. And it's Connor for a couple, and we're going to check in with Tracy.
Well, thanks a lot, Jim. Vance Joseph told us the #1 goal today, do not let 84 beat you. The last time these two teams played in the regular season, Antonio Brown had 189 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chris Harris Jr. told me he's been waiting 3 years for this rematch. He said the key against Brown, you can't fall asleep out there. He plays backyard football. Your eyes need to be on him at all times, Jim.
Well, Harris, he was magnanimous about it. Said it was on me, but it was a depleted secondary for the Broncos that day to injury. Here's a handoff to Switzer. And he's across the 30 to the 32. And then that divisional game I've alluded to a couple of times. The following year, Brown was out with a concussion, so they did not match up.
There's Antonio Brown, and you see the safety help right here. Well, that allows Ben just to come up and hand the ball off on an easy handoff with numbers. And the reason they have numbers is because you're going to double team Antonio Brown. Him being on the field helps everybody. We'll see how this plays out. They're trying to make it look like it's single high where the safety's in the middle of the field, but then they roll to Antonio. I bet when they put Chris Harris on him, I bet he doesn't roll to him.
3rd and 4 for Pittsburgh. Split out 5 wide. Across the middle, Switzer has the first. And Simmons brings him down. Switzer, who they traded with Oakland right before the start of the season to bring him to Pittsburgh, picks up 13.
Just a fantastic job, really, by Roethlisberger of getting Switzer open, because in the middle of the field, Jewell's the middle linebacker, and that's his responsibility, is that inside slant. And he just gets moved by Roethlisberger's eyes.
Six completions to 6 different targets. First play of the game went to Brown. Now they've got 7 different targets as Jesse James gets into the reception column for a gain of 9. AFC playoff picture. The Chiefs on a bye. There are the Steelers in the 2nd position. Patriots advance to 8-3 with their win over the Jets. Houston plays tomorrow night against Tennessee. Chargers in action right now against Arizona. Now that group that was at 5-5, Baltimore gets to 6-5. Cincinnati walloped by Cleveland. Browns jumped on them early, and you see the rest. Tennessee tomorrow night, Miami and Indianapolis 5-5, squaring off right now. 2nd and 1. Oh, and that play by Roby. Roby stepping in at the last moment. He was in concussion protocol this week. Former first rounder out of Ohio State. And he denies James Washington.
Yeah, and it's a great jump on an out route. And that's where we're going to have to go. Based on the scheme today, Denver's not going to let Antonio beat him, and you can tell with all the double teaming they've had so far. And Pittsburgh's going to have to go other places. I still think Pittsburgh's got to establish the run here at some point. If you're going to think you're going to come in and just go up and down the field passing against these guys, that's their strength, I think.
That's Connor. And he's going to have just enough for the first.
I mean, the Jets, when Denver lost to the Jets, I mean, they rushed for 323 yards, New York did. And then all of a sudden, back-to-back weeks, they also give up 270 to the Rams. Now, they played the Rams good, and you almost have to give up one or the other. But you shouldn't allow the Jets 323. That shows you right there that Denver does have an Achilles heel that you can really attack. And, you know, when they get into the situations where they ask Von Miller to make plays and you're trying to throw it up and down the field, that's when Denver's tough, especially in this environment.
That was Isaiah Crowell's game where he went for over 200.
That's exactly right.
And they are 27th in the league when it comes to against the rush. We got a timeout on the field.
And coming out, the timeout was because Vance McDonald breaks the huddle, and Roethlisberger's like, wait, we can't run this play out of this formation or out of this personnel. We can't have 2 tight ends in. They had the wrong guy in. They needed a receiver, so you have to take a timeout.
1st and 10 from the gun. Smith-Schuster. And running laterally with him was Harris, only for 3. Boy, did Smith-Schuster last week come up with some huge catches in that 4th quarter comeback against Jacksonville.
You ain't kidding. The one on the sideline, the back shoulder.
Yep.
How many did he have last week? I think he had 8 for 104.
He did, and he turned 22 on Thanksgiving Day. He set records for most reception yards for any player in the history of the league, 21 or under.
He's going to get a lot of opportunities one-on-one because so many teams double AB.
There's a 2nd and 7, and now, of course, he's an old sage at 22. And now in his 2nd year with the Steelers, and a big part of what they're doing. Connor for a carry there of only a couple.
Denver wins this game today, I think you got to really account for them being better. I mean, their record is 4-6, but when you put the tape on, they're not 27th in rushing. It's those 2 games that they got destroyed in. And they're also playing the toughest teams in the league better than anybody who those teams beat. I mean, this is a game today to tell us if this is a real playoff team or not. I think it goes 2 ways based on this game.
By the way, the schedule eases up considerably the rest of the year. On 3rd and 4, what a throw. I mean, a pass with tremendous velocity in there for a gain of 6.
Well, Smith-Schuster goes in, back out, and then back in again, which is a route I haven't seen very often. But that's the backyard ball that you can play when you have a quarterback like Ben Roethlisberger. Trying to give influence. 3 guys, little chip. Then you got a tackle, and then you got a running back. 3 guys hitting him.
Well, how about Okorafor, your first NFL start? You're looking across at Von Miller most of the day. First and 10. That's Connor. Look at him move down the line to find an opening before Simmons finishes it off, gain of 5 or 6.
Well, I mean, the fact that we haven't called him Okorafor's name is a good sign for him. And just, you know, pounding straight at him. You're seeing the ability by Connor to cut back, find the opening, get a great run on first down.
Yeah, this, Mike Tomlin told us last week, there's a little more wiggle there than you think. Yeah, we saw it as he went from a line right behind the right guard and was able to sag to the left side and pick up 6.
We'll see today. That was his worst game last week on tape in many areas, so he needs a good game today.
2nd and 4, here he is. Early contact from Darian Stewart. And holds him to a gain of about 3 to close out the first quarter. And we have 3 on the board of McManus field goals. All we have. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by FedEx. Possibilities, what we deliver by delivering. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Tuesday, Broncos players Connor McGovern, Gino Gradkowski, Elijah Wilkinson, Kevin Hogan distributing turkeys and other Thanksgiving food as part of the Denver Rescue Mission's Thanksgiving Turkey in a Box at Broncos Stadium here at Mile High. We start the second. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wilson. 3rd and 1. Pittsburgh from the 24 of the Broncos. Wide open. Wide open is Grimble. Grimble fights to the end zone. And they haven't signaled touchdown yet. He got hit by Will Parks.
Oh, are they calling it a fumble? Well, watch Grimble here on the edge of the line. He's going to make it look like everyone's going over here to run. And Grimble's going to block, 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 and then
Ruling on the field is
watch
the
what he
runner
does
was
at the end
hit
of this.
inbounds, fumbled the ball in and out of the end zone.
That's the Austin
Touchback.
Safarian Jenkins
Denver's
play of the
ball
year ago.
Touchdown at the 20-yard line.
He fumbles it.
Oh, it does. It comes out, doesn't it?
And that football's going back to the Broncos. He fumbled it through the end zone.
Will Parks with a big-time hit.
My goodness. Okay, the football belongs to the Broncos after Grimble coughed it up about a foot outside the goal line. You can see he did not cross the plane with control, and then he fumbles it through the end zone out of bounds. Touchback. It goes to Denver. Here's Keenum. Ball tipped up in the air and nearly caught on the rebound by Watt. Let's bring in, though, on that previous play, Gene Steratore. Walk us through it, please.
Fantastic ruling by that covering official first. There's a few elements here on this. One, you may be thinking, is this helmet-to-helmet contact? It is not, because the defender does turn and initiate contact with his shoulder. There is some helmet contact, not enough to be a foul for leading with the crown of the helmet. And we also see from a great angle here that this football is knocked loose prior to it reaching the goal line, and that covering official was right on this and rules touchback very well.
The 2nd and 10. Broncos run it with Freeman for no gain. And that's the man who made the play, Parks.
A couple of game-changing plays so far for Denver to start this game in the first quarter and second here. And I tell you, this is big to watch Pittsburgh's run defense. It wasn't very good last week without Tuitt in. And I want to see if that's the norm when Tuitt's not in, or it was just a bad week against Jacksonville where they gave up 179 yards rushing. So far today, they've been outstanding.
Most of that was in the first half. Tuitt out again with an elbow. Here's 3rd and 10. Sidestepping the pressure. Keenum gets rid of it. Nice play by Keenum to pick up the first down. Found his target. That was Cortland Sutton, the rookie from SMU, for 13.
Well, just a fantastic job finding the soft spot in the pocket and then slide right, move up. And then Keenum is at his best when he moves around. Whether he's moving or the coach is moving him with bootlegs, that's what they did in Minnesota. And you saw the best version of him, and they're trying to do similar things here in Denver.
Of course, last year he was 11-3 as a starter at Minnesota, led them all the way to the NFC title game before falling to Philadelphia. Signed by the Broncos in the offseason as a free agent. First down. He completes it. Stiff arm. Sanders near a first. In fact, he got first. Gain of 11. Sanders, who spent his first 4 years in the league in a Pittsburgh uniform. This couple plays ago, T.J. Watt, he came up hurt on the play. Tried to punch the ball loose, and
that's what you want, though. I mean, every time you run the ball, when a ball carrier, has a ball and he's wrapped up, you want someone coming in trying to punch it late, but he's leaving the field.
Yeah, he's going in. First down. Dump it off to the 48. That's Lacoste, the backup tight end.
And this is what, and there he goes. That's a big time blow for the Steelers, Watt's playing as well as anyone right now off the edge.
He's got 10 sacks on the season. He's had strip sacks each of the last 2 games.
Yeah, 3-1. Yeah.
Anthony Chickolo comes in. The Steeler defense.
Another play action.
2nd and 3. Well defended. Looked like it may have hit Hayden. They got a flag out now. Pass was thrown in the direction of Parker.
Ooh, this one could go either way. This is interesting. They could pick this up or call the penalty. Right now, I think it's on Pittsburgh. Quarterback's moving. Tony Correnti obviously likes to take his time before he makes the call.
Right in front of Mike Tomlin.
I think Hayden's just making a play on the ball. I don't think they can call it on him.
Pass interference. Offense, number 89. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
Called on Brian Parker.
It kind of looked like, as Hayden's making a play, you see Parker go across the field after a couple of people hitting him for a while. And then he sees right in front of him. Ooh, that's a bad call.
I mean, it's
accidental. He's not even looking. They saw him push Hayden so Hayden doesn't get the pick, so you call it. The problem is you didn't see Parker's head. Parker's head is looking back at the ball. It's a bad call. It's incidental contact.
Absolutely incidental. He was making the play in the direction of the football. He was not interfering. Nonetheless, it's 2nd and 13. And now going deep. Going deep! And not able to stretch out. Enough was Emmanuel Sanders. Close.
Sanders hasn't lost a step. Look at the speed. He's continuing to show you why. Oh, they go to him in clutch situations and move him around the field. Look at that. Lays out, almost has it, but it runs right by Hayden. And Keenum knows he just let that one go a foot or two too far. But those are the plays, I mean, as this game gets later in the game and all these games I watch on tape, it's like those plays are the ones where you win or lose. Not necessarily right now, but it's obviously important. But late in the game, they just haven't had those enough.
3rd and 13. Without Sanders on the field, and that's over the head of Booker. That'll bring the Bronco offense off the field.
And you got to give it to Case. Last week he did it. But if you're going to really take the step, I mean, you got to do it 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5. And all these games with their defense and just their ability to play good at home, just there's a lot of stuff. Denver can be in all these games. And they got to make the clutch play at the end.
Colby Wadman, who had a big throw last week on a fake punt. Completion to Andy Janovich that helped the cause. Boots it away. Switzer grabs it at the 20. 37-yard punt. Still 3-0, early second. We're back in the second quarter at Mile High Stadium. Watt in the locker room.
When you're running in quick like that, though, Jim, usually that means you're coming back out quick.
Yep.
You're trying to get in and back out. So when you're walking in slow, it ain't good.
From the 21, Connor. And Wolfrides is back along with Pecco, and we go back to the field to Tracy.
Well, Jim, I watched T.J. Watt come off holding his right wrist. He immediately went over to Dr. Bradley, was taken into the locker room. As you saw, he is questionable to return, but obviously a big blow if he remains out, guys.
I'm going out on a limb and saying he's coming back.
Okay. Dr. Romo.
Yeah, I don't like guessing on that stuff. I only like guessing on him coming back.
2nd and 4. And a catch off the ground, above the ground. Smith-Schuster has 9. Back to JB and Nate in the studio.
21 unanswered by the Chargers.
That's right. Check out Melvin Gordon right here. Cut right. And then he's going to get spun around and reach for the end zone. That's his 2nd TD on the day, 9th of the season. The Chargers lead 21-10.
Jim, Tony, and Tracy.
Thank you, guys. Chargers trying to bounce back after getting beat last week at the wire by the Broncos. Gordon, who was questionable this week, begged everyone to play, and he's making a difference, as he usually does. 1st and 10. And that's a catch and a tackle around the neck area by Harris. So Brown with his 2nd grab of the game.
Now here's the cat and mouse game. Here's Brown, and here is Harris. No safety help. So the Steelers want to put him in bunch formation so it's harder to double. And the Broncos are like, no problem. When you go there, we'll put Chris Harris on him, and we like our chances, and we'll see how this plays out. As this game unfolds, that cat and mouse game is going to be real important.
Miller on the near side.
And now Brown's inside where Harris can't guard him.
2nd and 4. Over to Brown. 1st down. And then help pushed out of bounds by Bradley Chubb.
I really like Pittsburgh adjustment getting into the bunch formations where it's like you want to double team a guy in a bunch. Well, there's like the corner's going to have to run through 2 other guys. Then the safety's got to know, am I outside or inside leverage? Because when he's on the sideline, we know we're forcing him that way.
First down from the 48. Ben has hit his last 6 passes. Make it 7. Connor. And that's Simmons trying to wrestle with him. That flag comes out in the area of the tackle.
Personal foul, grabbing a helmet opening, defense. 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the play and an automatic 1st down.
Well, that'll put the Steelers inside the 40 as Simmons.
Well, yeah, he's grabbing the back. I mean, trying to rip it down. Then he does it again toward the end. That's going to get called every time. He's like, what? Isn't the helmet just like an arm?
See how calmly Connor got up from that? Fake to him. Give it to Smith-Schuster. Look at that tackle. It's Tremaine Brock.
Yeah, fantastic tackle out in space.
Flattened him. Tonight, humans can't do it, but robots can. Inside the ambitious cleanup of a dangerous nuclear disaster. Plus, To Kill a Mockingbird is coming to Broadway. But first it comes to 60 Minutes. That's tonight on CBS. already with 15 snaps in Denver territory, but not scoring a single point.
No points to show for it, you're right. And they're blitzing them.
2nd and 8. At the Switzer. Nice spin move, first down. Flag comes out.
Well, this could be offensive pass interference. It's close because it's really a pick by McDonald 10 yards down the field, unless someone else in there said
pass interference, offense, number 89, 10-yard penalty, and repeat.
You got it, Tony. McDonald flagged for it.
Well, it's an under route, we call it, and McDonald goes up the field, and you'll see he's looking at the, see right there, he's got a route to run, but you tell him to influence that guy because underneath him is Switzer. The problem is he's got to make it look like you're not trying to influence that guy. So McDonald could have sold it a little better. Also a little bit of a ticky-tack call.
That was Sua Cravens who he made contact with. And look at Miller loving this situation. 2nd and 18. Got a rookie tackle lined up against him, making his first NFL start.
Going to be hard to protect against Miller over here. Hope you got a screen or some sort of quick pass on.
It's a screen to Connor. He gets grabbed around the neck, and now DeCastro says you got to flag that too, but there isn't one.
So right now on this side you can see they're using Miller. If he thinks he's one-on-one, they're going to use that against him. Now Miller's smart. Miller's going to recognize that as you see the clothesline by Wolf there, but Miller last week intercepted a screen pass to a receiver when he was supposed to rush because he sensed that the tackle was kind of going out on a screen. He'll adjust once he starts seeing him one-on-one over time. He's going to know something's up.
3rd and 11. Brown needs to pick up 5 more, and he's going to be about a yard short, maybe 2. And a little jawing going on, and they move the rookie Chubb away.
Well, that's a great job. I love Denver going after him. Don't let the quarterback, especially a good one, beat you. Blitz him so the ball comes out of his hand and make someone else make a play and then rally and tackle. Well done execution-wise by Denver.
Only the 4th time this entire season that Boswell has attempted more than 1 field goal in a game. First one was blocked. This from 41. Barry on the hold. And the kick by Boswell is good.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Jeep. Gain. Seriously good scent. And by State Farm. Here to help life go right.
Great conditions at Winter Park Resort, about 90 minutes away. Fresh powder came in last night. Well, last week the Steelers didn't score in the first half against Jacksonville. In fact, they really produced very little yardage. Got 176 yards in this game, just 3 points to show for it after the Boswell boot from 41 out. Very sad news to report. Our dear friend and CBS Sports colleague, coordinating producer Todd Carrick, he lost his father, Paul, this Thanksgiving week. Todd is such a valuable key member of our CBS Sports family and all of us inside this special department. We extend our deepest condolences to Todd, his wife Julie, and the entire Carrick family. It was Hilton of the Steelers jumping across, making contact with
Neutral zone
Hireman.
infraction. Defense, number 28. A 5-yard penalty remains first down.
You know, Pittsburgh's one of the dying teams, I guess you could say, who still pressures on first down.
Look who's back.
And there's
Right
Watt.
you are.
Oh, he's back, and he's got a little taped up kind of a thing, almost like a casty kind of a thing.
By the way, it's the 3rd straight week the Broncos have gone against the Watt brothers. Look at Lindsey go! Woo! Philip Lindsay finally pushed out by Edmonds.
This is, I'll say, we can't talk enough. Look at this kid, his juice, his explosiveness. I really, really think this kid is special. And you see Watt comes right back in, sets the edge. Not his responsibility back in there. A bad angle by Davis coming downhill to make that tackle. But don't you like this kid?
Oh, he's amazing. That went for 32. Undrafted, right up the road in Boulder. Raised right here in Denver. Denver South High School. Was not even invited to the combine. Look what he's doing. Second leading rookie rusher. And here's another rookie having a good season. He was taken in the 3rd round. Royce Freeman picks up 3 with that carry. And for more on Lindsay, Tracy, take it away.
Well, Jim, you mentioned it. Lindsay grew up 30 minutes from here. He cheers the Broncos on since he was a kid. He attended the Broncos Futures Camp in middle school. So he was so upset when they didn't draft him. They actually drafted 2 other running backs. Then he got the call to be a free agent. He said, no way. I don't want to play for you after you gave up on me. Well, a little talking with his mom had said, take the job and go out there and prove it. And he's certainly been doing that, Jim.
He has since week 1. And here he is again. And he's wrapped up by Vince Williams. Yeah, he had about an hour to make a decision. Every team in the league showed interest as soon as the draft ended, and he was unclaimed. And he said it came down to Baltimore or Denver, and his parents convinced him, stay at home. And they gave him a $15,000 signing bonus. Now again,
I know what that's like.
The league, that's the same number, isn't it?
How did he get 15? I only got 10.
No, you got 10.
Although that made me rich at the time.
So Saquon Barkley is, of course, the leading rookie rusher. He got a $21 million signing bonus, and he deserves it. But this kid got 15, and he's second.
They got
15,000.
Steal. The whole league was wrong.
3rd and 5, and that picks up the first down as Booker has hold of it. Yeah. How do you miss it by that much? The kid had a great career at Boulder, 2nd team All Pac-12, all-time scrimmage yard record at Colorado, 2nd all-time rusher at that school.
That's a miss all the way across the board, because as soon as you see him run at all, it leaps off, the page. And you see him there. He's 5'8", 190. But he's a 3-down back. I mean, he can play 1st, 2nd, 3rd. I mean, and he's got speed and juice, and I love his one-cut explosiveness. He's got it.
Here's a first down look. Keenum connects. That's Lacoste at the 10-yard line.
Lacoste does a great job. He sells the screen, and he gets Edmonds to bite. And Case Keenum with a great pump fake, keeps his eyes there, and then throws the back shoulder. The key to that play really was the selling of it by Lacoste, and then the back shoulder by Keenum to protect him from the coverage coming downhill.
It is 1st and goal to go right at the 10.
Yeah, 51's the mic.
All right, give him the ball.
Going up top. Wide open. Touchdown, Broncos. Lacoste.
Oh, we're getting some unique ones every week now. That's pretty good. Lacoste is just going to run a simple stick route, and you see the busted coverage right there by Pittsburgh. Just, this just can't happen. And a great finish. Back-to-back plays. You got to cover that guy.
Yeah, he had a 17-yarder the previous play. That one from 10 yards out produces his first NFL touchdown. Broncos take the lead, 10-3. Matt Lacoste, 4th year out of Illinois, has his first NFL touchdown. This tight end group has really produced. They lost Jake Butt for the remainder of the season, his 3rd ACL injury. And a nod to Bill Musgrave, the offensive coordinator, who's done a lot with a lot of inexperienced players. And there he is, the old Oregon quarterback who's been around the league, doing a fine job for many franchises as a coordinator. Antonio Brown in his matchup. Tony, what do you see?
Well, you see the double team here, and Pittsburgh uses that against Denver. Then you put him inside, and then you throw him the ball. And so I think if you're Denver, you're seeing this happen a little bit more and more as this game goes on. If he's inside, Antonio Brown, expect him to get targeted. if he's outside, expect them to use that against you and run him off and replace him with somebody else coming into that window.
Next catch for Brown will be the 800th of his career. He's got 4 for 35 so far. Fake to Connor, bring it over to Smith-Schuster. His 6th catch for 36 yards. Coming up, the Verizon halftime report. JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, Coach Cowher, all the latest scores and highlights coming up on the Verizon halftime report.
Well, Pittsburgh done a little bit of everything so far in this game. Roethlisberger, really an outstanding start outside of 2 plays that cost him points.
Here's a 2nd and 4. And he connects this time with McDonald. That's his 2nd catch for 18 yards.
Yeah, and he's just seeing the field really, really well right now. Roethlisberger 19 for 23, 12 straight completions, a season high.
It was on this field where he won his first AFC championship some 13 years ago. Came in here and took on the #1 seed. Broncos were quarterbacked by Jake Plummer. They won. They went on to win Super Bowl 40 for Coach Cowher in Detroit over Seattle. In the AFC Championship here. Here is Smith-Schuster. Again, got a lot of catches of the short variety. That's now 7.
You know, and I like going, if you're going against Denver, you want to get the ball out of your hands. You want to screen. You want to misdirection a couple times. And then like your 3rd and 1, take a shot, go downfield. And you see he's calling a great game right now.
Randy Fitchner. His offense is approaching 200 yards, but again, they've been kept out of the end zone.
And that's the game so far. Comes down to just the ball, the ball, the ball.
2nd and 5. Stepping up and connecting again. McDonald takes the hit, absorbs it, backs up, and regains the 3 yards he had lost for a moment. 2-minute warning. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by E-Trade, the original place to invest online. And by Garmin. Get a Garmin smartwatch and beat yesterday.
Back with 1:53 to go in the 2nd quarter. Big Ben has Antonio Brown in the backfield. He's got a new set of downs at the Broncos 48. Handed off to Connor. And he's swarmed after a gain of just 2. Roethlisberger, by the way, has completed his last 14 passes. His career record is 16 consecutive completions.
Well, you know what mine is, right?
Got to be somewhere in that neighborhood, huh? Do you know?
It's like 32.
Yeah, okay. I'm buying that.
Good question. I'm going to have to look that up.
2nd and 8.
It's probably 8.
Look at that pass.
Wow.
Down to the 31. Switzer with 2 players draped on him. Roethlisberger throws a strike.
Well, it's fantastic job by him hanging in the pocket and then delivering it right in front of the safety on a line under pressure. But here we go. A minute to go. You got 2 timeouts. Plenty of time as a quarterback.
Roethlisberger 22 out of 26, and his streak comes 1 short of tying his personal record as it's incomplete to Switzer.
And he took the wrong guy here. He had Smith-Schuster wide open on a curl route, and he tried to rush it and get it out to the flat.
Protection's been good, and he's been getting rid of the football quickly. But no sacks on either side so far in this game.
The coverage hasn't been good enough for Denver so far. There's people too open. And I can understand AB or a couple of the other guys, but there's too many guys who are open consistently.
2nd and 10. Switzer with the catch at the 10, bounces around, holds on. Got jolted by Justin Simmons, but maintained the catch, and a timeout is called by Pittsburgh.
Just a perfect throw in the middle of the field.
Look at this hit that he absorbs.
Hanging on the ball, Switzer. And watch, this is why it's open. 2 safeties are going to go wide, and Harris is in the middle of the field by himself. And really, Harris does a great job. It's just a perfectly designed play call and throw. and ability to hang on after the hit. That's where you want to throw it versus that coverage. It's perfect, and Switzer is getting all the grass off.
Yeah. He's taking a few more blows as Simmons hit him with his shoulder. You didn't see any flag there.
And you couldn't tell last time, Jim. They did a great job on Miller. The tight end right here, he keeps chipping him. And if he doesn't go there, you expect something else coming.
First and goal. Switzer at the 3-time. Davis right there to meet him.
No timeout, Pittsburgh. If you're Denver, I would have probably taken a timeout right there. You know that Pittsburgh's not under the gun time-wise. You're trying to get the ball back.
Second and goal. Oh, right through the hands. He was open, McDonald.
Well, this is just Davis is right out in front of him. So you see Davis 51. He reads Roethlisberger's eyes. You can't do that. You got to play your technique. Stay right there. He's going to come right back inside. That's the second or third time. And McDonald knows he's got to catch that.
Yeah, that was a touchdown for sure. Now it's third and goal. Timeout, Vance Joseph. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this from Walmart. Steelers, 249 yards, 39 plays, 3 points. Switzer lined up in the backfield on third and goal with 28 seconds left in the first half.
Heads up for something funny coming backside with one of the receivers.
Shuffle pass. And Smith-Schuster is denied right at the line of scrimmage. Now what will they do?
They're going to take it down and take a timeout with 3 seconds. Pittsburgh. And that's exactly the play call. I mean, when you line up like that, then you're basically, Denver was super prepared for this little shovel pass, we call it.
Timeout, Steelers back in 30 after this from Lowe's. Again, the Verizon halftime report straight ahead. JB and the crew back in New York. All the scores and highlights coming up on the Verizon halftime report. They brought out Boswell. Would you have thought about going for it?
No, I think you got to get the points. You've already had two possessions end horribly for you. You've got to get just 6 and be like, hey, we got something out of this drive. Can't have a third drive end in nothing.
21 yards. That's all it is. Oh, it's a fake. Direct snap. Boswell throws, and it is caught by Villanueva for a touchdown. Whew, what a play. Boswell right on target. And the Steelers close out the half with a fake field goal touchdown.
And Danny Smith says, anything you can do on special teams, I can do better. What a play call. And a great job by Boswell.
Yes.
Looking off right like he's a veteran quarterback.
A spiral, no less.
And Villanueva with the hands, soft hands, hands of a surgeon. Special team coach right there, Danny Smith. And Vance Joseph was upset. Boy, that's an area you cannot come after him with everything.
Boswell's point after sends us to the locker room with the game tied. Alejandro Villanueva with the touchdown catch. The pass from Chris Boswell. And the Steelers, who deferred, will get the second half kick. Here it is. What a play. What a game. 10-10 halftime. After these first half highlights from Verizon. Pittsburgh about to receive the third quarter kick. Here's a look at the gain of the first half. Again, Boswell to Villanueva. That's the one everyone's abuzz about. Villanueva, by the way, at Army, was a wide receiver. In 2009, he led the team with 34 receptions for over 500 yards. He hasn't had a chance to show that skill set in the NFL like he did here today. What a play that was.
Yeah, and it's just a perfectly designed play. 2 guys go with the tight end, and they do that simply because you're like, the tackle's not going to go out on a route, is he? And every 8 weeks in the NFL, you find someone who does it, and he made that look easy. He had to swim a guy at the line of scrimmage as if he was a tight end and then get out into the route, and pretty impressive for a guy that size. And he's not a guy who's big. He is like the biggest guy.
He is. And the Steelers, as you look at the first half stats, pass along that's the first Steeler with a made field goal and a touchdown pass in the same game as Bobby Lane in 1960. So Boswell and Bobby Lane, they tell us, have a little connection there. And let's go down to Tracy Wolfson.
Well, Jim, I spoke with Mike Tomlin going in, and I asked him about the fake field goal, and he said, we are playing to win. It is as simple as that. And he said he feels as though points could be hard to come by, so expect them to be aggressive in the second half. As for Vance Joseph, obviously frustrated by the fake field goal, he said it caught us off guard. We need to play with more focus. They've had 2 or 3 trick plays, but he said that's a good thing too, because that means we're stopping them. Jim?
Well, his team, this is kind of bizarre that for the 3rd straight week, playing a team that's coming in on at least a 5-game win streak. Houston, which came down to a last-second field goal from 51 that was wide by McManus. Houston won. Chargers last week. Steelers with a 6-game win streak. Steelers with an open receiver, and that was Smith-Schuster. Led too much, and he was all alone.
Oh my gosh, he was so open. Watch this from an inside position. Brock, you can't bite on that on the first play of the second half. And Tomlin was right. They were going to come out, just outstretched. They're going to come out and be aggressive. I was sitting here going, I mean, they threw it 31 times in the first half. How much more aggressive are they going to be?
Right. And they only ran it 8 times against the 27th ranked defense against the rush. Here's a running play. Connor, stutter step move, switches direction, and picks up about 8. And a penalty marker out.
You were just talking about a second ago. How many teams in a row winning streak?
It's a 3rd straight game. A team with at least 5-game win streak coming in against Denver.
That's incredible.
It's been 42 years in the league since anybody faced that.
Illegal block in the back, offense. 10-yard penalty, repeat, 2nd down.
And to the point you've been making earlier, these tough opponents, and they almost beat Houston, almost snapped their win streak.
Rams, Chiefs.
Then they beat the Chargers, who had the win streak going, and now here they are tied at halftime against a 6-game win streak.
And by the way, 2 of those teams that didn't have that win streak were the Rams and Chiefs.
Right.
And so just think about their schedule now. That's why if they can win today, it is a real possibility that Denver can be a team that no one really knows right now could really make a run the rest of this year, because the schedule gets way easier.
Super favorable after this.
But today's the day. If you're going to go do it, you've got to win this game today.
Here's a 2nd and 15 for Pittsburgh. And Switzer, who's being called on quite a bit, has now 5 catches for 63 yards after that 6-yard gain. 25 completions in the first half. How about that? A career high for Roethlisberger.
Yeah, that's...
You would think he's had 3 500-yard games. He's had 4 perfect quarterback rating games. All those times that he's thrown for 300 plus. And in a game where they get a touchdown pass from the place kicker, he sets a personal record for completions in the first half. Go figure.
He should have a touchdown. The fumble on the inch-yard line.
That was one.
It's a killer for a quarterback.
3rd and 9 over to Brown, and look at the Denver defense find him in a hurry. Todd Davis.
And they thought they were going to blitz.
That was his 800th catch, but it wasn't memorable.
Well, and Denver doesn't blitz, so they're able to rally and get multiple people around the ball, and it's an incredible effort by Davis getting a hand on Antonio Brown. See, that's a play call that I think should be quarterback change the play if they're not blitzing. That way we can get the ball down the field, protect up a little bit with a chip on Miller, and then move the chains if you can get it.
First punt for Jordan Berry. It's River Craycraft. Grabbing hold of it at the 22. And takes a big lick for about a 6-yard run back on the heels of a 52-yard punt. In 9 seasons, he joins Marvin Harrison and Torrey Holt, who've done it in 9 seasons. 3rd to ever reach 800 catches in 9. Now the Broncos' first handle of the second half. Keenum flicks it on the sideline. That's Lacoste, who had the touchdown catch. And they say incomplete.
There have been a ton of design plays. Ooh, wow, that looks barely out.
Yeah, the left foot. Try to drag it back.
That's so close.
Crowd's
Can't tell from there. That might be in, actually.
Crowd's wanting a challenge.
I would challenge that.
We're going to move on. As Lindsey breaks it outside. Sends the ball waiting for him, but not until he picks up 14.
He gets running. He's got that.
He's got a gear, doesn't he?
He's got a gear, and you saw that jump cut at the start. You can see him just bound right there. I mean, he wants to run. Just watch this jump cut left, ooh, and then just go and be like, nope, you took a bad angle. But you don't see speed like that with the jump cut. You know, the ability to like shuffle your feet real fast and then explode. I mean, you get one or the other usually. That's why I think this kid is really going to be a special player for this franchise.
It was an ankle breaker for the defender. First down. Oh, sack of Keenum by Williams, who basically burst across untouched.
Well, this is what happens all the time. This is the #1 pressure on first down right here for good circle there. #1 pressure by Vince Williams inside. That's a run blitz. And so what happens then is the run blitz comes through the middle, and they're pulling a guard, and he just goes right by him.
Vince Williams, what is his 4.5 sacks on the season. First sack for either side in this game.
Ready? What's that?
Now 2nd and 16. Back to Lindsey with an opening. Look at him go outside. Finally brought down about 4 yards short of the first. Give McGovern, the center, some credit for opening up that hole for 12.
Well, it's just hard running, but here's another blitz right up the middle, and a great job by Veldier just coming right down and taking Bostic right out of the play. You'll see Pittsburgh run that pressure more than anybody, and it's a run stunt, run blitz. It comes right through the middle, and all of a sudden, they're probably going to do it again here. Oh, they can't now. No one's in the backfield.
3rd and 4. 4 receivers to the right side. Keenum looks that way, looks across the middle. Ball comes out incomplete. Hireman said, "Where's the flag?" And Morgan Burnett was the one who denied the catch.
Yeah, it's just a great job defensively. Morgan Burnett knows the sticks is 3rd and 4, so he hangs on him heavy, and he's got his arms around him, but it's at 4 yards. You know, you can get physical inside. They give you freedom there. You know, I like the no call actually there, even though he was a little handsy, but you got to create separation. Pittsburgh's creating separation right now, and it's getting harder and harder for Denver. They need trick plays almost, like they did in the first half, to move it in chunks.
Watney. This merits a fair catch signal. Bounces at the 4. Covered up by the Broncos. Broncos were down deep. Tim Patrick was the first to tap it. And Big Ben and company will start somewhere around the 3 when we come back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Subway. Make it what you want. Kay Jewelers. For all the moments, for love, forever. And by Hyundai, official sponsor of the NFL.
That's Parker and Maverick, 2 Bernese Mountain Dogs, having a little fun up at Loveland ski area, about an hour from us here in Denver. Now, the Steelers from the 3, and this place is rocking. The 401st consecutive sellout for a Bronco home game. And backpedaling to the end zone, getting rid of it. Off the hit, and picking up a man in stride. It's Smith-Schuster. Smith-Schuster inside the 30. Stiff arm, and he's going to go 97 yards for the touchdown.
I mean, this is unbelievable. Roethlisberger off his back foot in his own end zone.
And a defender right in his face.
I mean, this is high level play. Watch the center get blown up right here, but this is the key move by Smith-Schuster, getting an incredible release and then just turning on the Jets. And see how he beats Roby off that line? I mean, Oh, my goodness.
How about the stiff arm?
And then right here.
That's on Darian Stewart.
Oh, man. Smith-Schuster had wheels there, too. Wow. That was almost a safety.
That close.
Oh,
instead, it goes 97 yards.
And that's why you go get a franchise. When you get a franchise quarterback, that guy can do things that no one else can. Roethlisberger shows you there. Look at this. Only a handful, maybe,
this
can
is
do that.
Shelby Harris right all over him.
Oh, just pushes. Look at that. Pounce you right back into him. Off your back foot. I mean, you have to scan the field to see that before. Can't see the free safety. Throwing it off your back foot. No ability to get on your left side, and then just, I mean, he threw it perfectly. And then Smith-Schuster does the rest. When you throw that and they catch it, and then you watch them go the whole way. Oh, man, that's a good feeling. And Coach knows that was a big-time play. And how about that? 2 plays coming out after half. I mean, that's a shot play. They're calling a go route right there. Ben's calling a go route, and he throws it inside because he sees the release.
That puts
next level right there.
Roethlisberger over 300 yards. Well, he had to say, hey, Boswell's got a touchdown pass. I need one, too. I mean, it was a gorgeous throw with all that pressure. Saturday, 4 Eastern on CBS, the SEC Championship. #1 Alabama battling 5th-ranked Georgia. Rematch of last year's national championship. Kick off your day with the drive to Atlanta beginning at 2:30 Eastern, followed by college football today. Alabama, Georgia, SEC Championship next Saturday from Atlanta. And Roethlisberger's running into the locker room.
Yeah. Sometimes that's just
I think we know.
I think we know. I don't know what's kosher on there.
Yeah, I think we can all just leave it to our imagination.
Okay.
Here's a 1st and 10 throw, incomplete for Sutton.
It's getting tough. All the plays, they're getting tough. Just watch. Oh, look at Pouncey go down. I mean, that's a big-time play by Harris. Harris almost had a game-changing play, because that creates interceptions if you throw that.
However, they do have Dobbs warming up. He did take a little hit to that right leg area on contact after the throw. That ties, by the way, the longest pass play in Pittsburgh history. A running play for just a couple. It ties the Pittsburgh record, which was previously 97 yards, Roethlisberger to Smith-Schuster. Yes, for the second time. Ben,
oh no, he's limping a little, doesn't it look like it? Oh no, that's a big deal.
The way he ran off the field, he didn't think it was an issue, but his gait backstage doesn't quite look 100%. 3rd and 8. Fine time, Keenum. Incomplete, but a flag on the field. Hilton on the coverage. Sanders the target.
Keenum, like we said, is at his best when he gets out and moves around. But it looks like they're going to pick up the penalty. Holding.
Offense, number 66. This penalty decline. The result of the play creates 4th down.
Well, and this is how they moved the ball well in the first half. They did some different things, but it was really the unique plays. The fullback, who's a tight end, gets up on a wheel route down the sideline, Hireman, and then all of a sudden you see a fake wide receiver screen, and then all of a sudden Lacoste down the sideline. They're struggling right now, and Tomlin told you if they're running fake plays, kind of all these different stuff, it's tough for them.
Here's the punt by Wadman. By the way, Roethlisberger just jogged back to the sideline as Switzer goes out of bounds with it at the 23. Helmet is on. Ben's going to take the field when we come back to Denver. We had just mentioned that he matched the longest touchdown pass in Steeler history, 97 yards. What we didn't know is the first player in NFL history with multiple touchdowns of at least 97 yards. Smith-Schuster. Here's a handoff to Connor. Connor rips off his best run of the game. Best run of the last 2 weeks. DeCastro helping clear the path for a gain of 11.
Well, and this is why I think Pittsburgh might be right now the most complete team. Now, I know everyone wants to talk about the Rams and the Chiefs and their offensive stuff. And their defense for the Rams is, productive. Chiefs, that's their Achilles heel. Pittsburgh's the most complete team that I see on both sides of the ball. And it's the fact you double AB, you're leaving the other guy, Smith-Schuster, one-on-one. And then all of a sudden, I think they might have the best offensive line in the league. It's like...
Here's Connor with about 4. They're going to get Gilbert back at some point. And they've had to go the last 5 games without their starting right tackle. And they haven't missed a beat. Just look at what Okorafor has done today.
Right now, this is the class team, to me, as far as well-rounded. The Chiefs are just, they can outscore anybody. The Rams, they can outscore anybody as well, and they can play pretty solid at different times. But
well, you're talking about a team.
It'd be a great matchup. Let's just say that if you're going, any of these teams are seeing each other.
Both their offensive defense ranked in the top 5 overall. And here's Connor. Again, gets a good block by DeCastro. When we talk about that offensive line, you mentioned that maybe it's the best. You got to give a big nod to Mike Munchak, what he does to develop the Hall of Famer himself.
Look at 66. You're talking about the O-line. That's DeCastro. 15 yards. He runs, and he gets his hands on Simmons to clear the way. Simmons wants no part of that, backing up. But they've just gone to ground and pound all of a sudden. Let's throw it 35 times and let's run it now 7 of the next 9.
And you're getting big chunks with every rush.
You see the big personnel they're in.
There's Grimble moving to the right side, and they're going to run it that way. Connor stuffed this time. As Zach Kerr was the first to cross the line.
Denver needs to regroup right now. When you get a big-time play, a 97-yard touchdown, it just takes the air out of the building. You can see the crowd is very quiet. It takes, the emotions of the defense. It's just such a devastating blow to you. You got to come back right now. Be aggressive, get up, challenge these guys. I know you don't want to get beat for another touchdown, but you got to get aggressive and make a stand right here. It's going to be hard for your offense to score 2 or 3 more touchdowns in this game.
There's Von Miller. It's been a quiet game for him so far, but here he comes. Roethlisberger knew it, and he unloaded for a 7-yard pass play to Brown. It was a constant theme talking to Mike Tomlin yesterday. He feared Von Miller. He coached him in the Pro Bowl in January in Orlando. And he said, you know what? He just took over the game, and he can do that.
Yeah, he can. And Von Miller's the rare guy who's almost like a man amongst boys at the Pro Bowl sometimes. It's like, I remember when Adrian Peterson, when I was young, they're like, hey, what do you want to run here? I'm like, are we watching the same game? Just hand it to that guy.
Yeah, right.
He's faster and more explosive than everybody on the field. Just give it to him.
3rd and 3, and Roethlisberger wants a timeout.
You know what? We forgot to throw on the Saints, and we were talking earlier. They're going to have something to say. They're pretty complete.
Your
too.
buddy Sean Payton will have something to say to you.
He's right.
If you don't have a text already.
I forgot about them, but those are the 4 class teams right now.
We're going to see Pittsburgh in New Orleans, by the way, December 23rd.
Ooh.
And how about Super Bowl 32? John Elway, you visited with him before the game, the famous helicopter run last week. All will Roethlisberger laying out for the 1-yard touchdown run with 5 seconds remaining to win the game down in Jacksonville. And again, a reminder, Super Bowl 53, February 3rd. Only CBS. We've got the game from Atlanta.
There's John Elway right there. There he is. Look up at the screen, John. Show us that. Pretty smile. He's one of the best. They don't make him like him very often.
He'll smile if he can get a stop here, because his team needs it. 3rd and 3. And intercepted. That'll bring out a smile. Harris to the 43 of Pittsburgh.
Well, Denver needed to make a stand, and you hear this crowd. You want to get them back into the game? Get a pick, go the other way. Here comes Denver.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by AT&T. More for your thing, that's our thing. And by the Spark Cash Card from Capital One.
The statue outside of Pat Bowlen, a finalist for the Hall of Fame as a contributor. Had more Super Bowl appearances, 7 than losing seasons in his time, including 3 world championships. Here's Keenum going for a big ball. Sanders has it. Ball comes out, but it's a catch. They rule it a catch down at the 5.
Well, Sanders just runs right by him again. Same as earlier in the game. The speed of Sanders, I mean, that's a lot of separation, and Hayden just can't keep up. And
well, you talk about changing the momentum in a hurry. They run to the line.
And they should snap it quick because that ball came out. But
first and goal, Keenum rolling, flinging, and finding his target, Sanders, for the touchdown. 2 plays after the takeaway. The Broncos are a PAT away from tying it.
There's 8 things that were awesome by Sanders here. Watch him here. Let's chip on Watt, and then let's grab our own player and rip around him. Hireman, thanks, watch this. Chip him, now grab Hireman and rip myself around to find the soft spot. And then an excellent back shoulder throw by Case Keenum on the move when he's at his best.
Extra point to tie it. 17 all, and you're right, they did hurry to the line so that Pittsburgh didn't have time to throw the challenge flag or even give it a thought from the guys upstairs. Ran to the line, complete the next one for the score, and we're tied at 17.
And that's coaching. Coaching that means you practice it and you can get up there and get the play snap. But it was the interception that set it up. See Chris Harris, he was actually sitting there waiting for the crosser. Did he catch this? Should they have challenged it?
That's a football move. I think that would have held up.
Well, let's all just speculate for fun. We'll never know. And Sanders with a good job, with a happy dance.
We've been tied at 3, tied at 10, tied at 17. Let me bring in Gene Steratore real quick. Would that have been anything that could have been overturned with a catch down to the 5-yard line? Gene Steratore.
Not with the new definition of a catch, Jim, because it's possession, and even though he is falling, he does take 3 steps, which now is a catch this year in the National Football League.
Football move. You felt clearly a football move. So they come right back to Sanders, and he's able to score against his former team. This is what we were just talking about. Yeah, there's at least 3 steps in there.
1, 2, 3. Yep. Gene, you got a future in this sport if you ever want to get down to that field and ref some stuff.
Well, we'll start him out first in the television business and then
see where it takes him.
Then let him go do some Final Fours and things like that too.
All right, now you got the crowd back into it. Put yourself in a little bit of a tougher spot now, Pittsburgh.
Sideline route, and that's Brown with the catch. And Sanders, his old running mate, gives him a little tap.
Ball's right down on the sideline, perfect throw. Can't tell from there if his foot, he definitely got his right in. It's his left foot you got to look at. Yes, inbounds.
Beautifully
outstanding.
done. You saw Roethlisberger upset on the interception throw. You saw something you thought.
There's a little bit of a grab there from Roby, but the decision wasn't great there either with Harris out in front.
2-yard completion to Smith-Schuster, and we got a Bronco injured on the tackle. We got an update. Let's send it back to New York.
Phillip Rivers out of the game, but was on fire.
Yeah, he definitely was, JB. He's 28 for 29. Check out this last play right here. Keenan Allen's going to turn up and then come back downhill. A little toe drag swag on the sideline. His completion percentage is 96.6. He's on the sideline now, enjoying the view from the bench.
That's a player in his 15th year. Back to Jim Nantz.
What happened on the incompletion? You go 28 out of 29. How about those numbers?
Wow. That's
Tremaine Brock, by the way, on the tackle. Smith-Schuster remains down on the sideline.
Well, you're seeing some great quarterback play from some veterans across the league, and here's the end of the play. Brock seems to hold that rib area. Tough to tell there. But you see how many quarterbacks, we were just talking about Rivers, and you got him, Breeze. Brady's still obviously rolling.
Goff.
But I mean the veterans. I'm saying these older guys.
The older guys.
That are just starting to, you know, MVP type seasons for a few of them.
Well, it's going to be a great thing to see sorted out in the month of December coming up.
Yeah,
I mean, when you look at all of these performances this year, a lot of folks would have Breeze and Mahomes right now battling it out, but there are so many others.
Oh, this could change. You know this. I mean, who knows how this plays out? All we're saying is right now, I mean, Kansas City offensively, it's so difficult to stop, but yet then there's a matchup. They struggled against Denver. And when I say struggled, they still scored 7 points. And
yeah, they won 27-23 and 30-23.
But it's just styles make fights sometimes. This is strange here. There's a lot of teams, if you get in the tournament, who can make some noise. It's going to be hard to stop these offenses, but like you saw today when Pittsburgh, you start off with a block kick, a fumble at the 1. The ball bounces funny sometimes.
And this AFC picture, as Tomlin told us last night, it's dense. The number of teams that are jockeying for seeding and positioning in the playoffs as Roethlisberger goes deep again. And that's Washington unable to hold on once he hit the ground.
They just changed with a little motion. They do the same thing. They do an out and up. And Yadam, they just got it on a different guy.
They are ready for this kid right here, Washington, to have a big second half of the season, the rookie from Oklahoma State. Because that's what happened for Smith-Schuster last year, the second half of the season. And Tomlin even pointed out all the way back AB's rookie year, he went berserk in his words.
Yeah.
His postseason run of his rookie year. He thinks Washington will be next to break out second half of the year. And another Roethlisberger signal for a timeout, leaving them with only one.
Well, you know how you can break out is when you catch those plays, because then the next week your coaches start giving you more plays.
That's right.
Putting you in more often. He's got to come up with that one. That was not overthrown that much.
Again, a Super Bowl season for us. We're heading into December. Regional action. We're going to go to the Super Bowl stadium next week for Baltimore. Now at 6-5. Lamar Jackson 2-0 as a starter. Ravens and the Falcons plus other regional action. It all gets started with the NFL today at noon Eastern on CBS. How about the Steelers have one timeout? We have 4 minutes remaining in the third. Brown up at the top of the screen has Yadam on him. Ben might look that way, and he does. Yadam, a rookie out of Boston College, defending, and the Steelers are going to be taken off the field. Time to punt.
Yadam can play underneath because he has a safety help over the top, so he doesn't have to respect down the field. And Roethlisberger, knowing he was doubled, thought he'd fit it in against the young guy.
Barry, second boot of the game, and that'll start this next drive for Denver at the 9-yard line. Craycraft with the fair catch, 49-yard punt. Case Keenum coming out, 152 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Came into the league out of the University of Houston, started his career with the Houston Texans. And a visit with Case yesterday, both commiserating about the great loss in the city of Houston. The key member of the NFL family, the passing on Thanksgiving Day of Bob McNair, owner of the Texans. He was committed to bringing the NFL back to the city after the Oilers left town in October of '99. He was able to outbid Los Angeles and get the NFL's 32nd franchise. A businessman, philanthropist, father and husband, and a friend to so many people in and around and all through the great city of Houston. Bob McNair, he will be missed.
He was a good man. Been around him a bunch of times, and he's one of the good ones.
Lindsey, after a gain of 2, now Freeman in the backfield. Pass down the field, diving catch, but I don't think he was in. No, he's out. Sanders.
They're just taking Sanders and running him straight down the field. And, oh my gosh, that was close.
1 foot down, that was it.
Yeah, but he would have been out anyway, I think, because the ball was just a little too far on the sideline. But look at how aggressive both these offenses have gotten. They're making you defend. I mean, this is going down the field. And any first and second down play, you better watch out. Third down, first and second, that ball's getting down the field.
It's been quite a game. Some remarkable plays. Here's a 3rd and 8. Oh, and the ball comes off the hands of Sutton. And there were Steelers in the area that you thought might make a play on it. Sutton's been held to 1 catch so far.
Yeah, two drops today. That uncharacteristic. He's got good hands. He's big. This is, to me, the reason why they let go of Thomas. We talked about it earlier, and I think he's just a matter of time before he breaks out and shows you all that ability. I think this is Elway's best draft in last couple years. These guys are really good.
The first 4 round selections are all contributors, and then of course you got the undrafted Lindsey. Phenomenal year by Elway. Ball's out. Still out. Mad scramble.
This call isn't big, is it?
It could be still passing through and exchanging hands here.
Both coaches are sitting there nervous as heck right now, especially the special teams coaches. Whose is it?
Pittsburgh football. Yes, Switzer got it back after all of that.
And he caught a break earlier because he fumbled it on the sideline. It went out of bounds. Came back to haunt him here in the middle of the field. Got his eyes downfield just before he caught it. Ooh, that ball did change hands about 5 times right there.
All right, 3 minutes to go in the 3rd. Riveting action here in the Rocky Mountain State. Roethlisberger at 3:48 passing. Gonna throw again. He's given the time. Gotts is coming after him and then extends it out for an extra yard. It is again update time. That means JB and Nate have it in New York.
Colts 4-game win streak on the line.
That's right, Kenyon Drizzy Drake. He has the Indy fans in their feelings with a jump cut right up the middle. That's a 14-yard TD, 2 on the day. Dolphins lead 24-14 in the 4th quarter.
Back to Jim Nance.
Boy, did that turn around. All right, guys, thank you. Adam Gase, the former offensive coordinator for the Broncos, head coach of the Dolphins, trying to get to 6-5. They've turned that game around. You saw Chubb come off the field. 2nd and 4. Flings a little dart near the 1st down yardage. And that's James with the catch and the first. Let's go down to Trace.
Jim, a few injury updates for the Steelers. Tight end Vance McDonald in the locker room right now with a hip injury. And for the Broncos, cornerback Tremaine Brock, he's been looked at with a rib injury. He is questionable as well in the locker room. And Emmanuel Sanders right now in the blue tent. I will give you an update as soon as I get it.
Okay, so McDonald has the helmet on the sideline. James, the other tight end, with that catch for the 1st down. Here's Roethlisberger, thought about it, now throws it. It's James again, 2 straight plays. And Pittsburgh has the football at the Denver 40. Pick up a 13.
Just too many times today, the linebackers, watch this. You see it inside, you got different personnel. This time, Cravens turns and looks at Roethlisberger. As you watch James, when he turns and looks, Roethlisberger's going to give you different eye movement. Stay right where you're at, stay next to the defender, don't let the quarterback move you. That's the 4th or 5th time today in the middle of the field they've been moved.
Chubb returns to the lineup for Denver. And a flag and a pre-snap penalty coming.
It's going to be a false start on the right tackle. Go ahead and tell us who that's on, Jim.
False start. Offense. Number 76. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
That would be Chukwuma Okorafor.
That's right. You're right. I just wanted to test you. Excellent job by Jim Nance there, but a little early for our guy, Okorafor.
Okorafor, just 21. Left Western Michigan after his junior year. Family immigrated from Botswana back in 2010. He is held pretty steady here today. 1st and 15. McDonald's back on the field, lined up to the right of Okorafor. There's a pass behind Antonio Brown. And another flag in the secondary.
Now this is, see what the penalty is first.
Holding. Defense, number 25. 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
They got Chris Harris for holding.
Yeah, in the middle of the field, I feel like you're going to see the slot right here on Switzer. Switzer's going to go up and then break into the middle, and you see he kind of grabs him right there with his right arm around him, but you could call it. Tough from that angle to tell if it really took him off his spot. I'm not sure he was really getting that open anyway.
Able to get to him. Shaq Barrett. He came close earlier in this game. It's interesting, they had Miller and Chubb out, and they rotated in Ray and Barrett, and they get the first sack of the game without Miller and Chubb on the field.
This is really outstanding. Barrett is, I mean, this is really unique because they have 3 guys. Everyone knows about Chubb and Miller, and you even know about Ray. But Barrett has been outstanding as well on tape. I mean, their outside rushers are as deep as any team I can remember. They go 4 deep basically on this team.
Connor on the screen pass, middle of the field, all kinds of room. Ball comes out of his hands. Connor tried to get back to it in time. It looks like Darian Stewart might be there first. It is Stewart with the football. It belongs to Denver.
It's a perfectly executed screenplay, and Connor with a great move, but you can't let this ball come out, not at this point in the game. Oh, this ball is going to come out right on the hit as his arm goes flying. And then you see Roby with the big tackle to get it out. Was Stewart in bounds right there?
He was in bounds.
Quarter.
The quarter comes to an end. What a quarter it was. Can't wait for the 4th. A quarter that saw a 97-yard touchdown pass. Denver a 37-second drive after a takeaway. And the Steelers with 2 giveaways. The interception by Harris, and now Connor fumbling and recovered by Stewart. So we start the 4th. Jim Nance, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson, Jim Rickoff, Ryan Galvin, the producers, Mike Arnold, our director, and all the crew. As Keenum somehow through a tiny little opening, Lindsey burst ahead for 9. He's now up to 78 yards. Lost his shoe, and he'll sit out a play.
I mean, he's got 9 attempts for 78 yards. I would just continue to give him the ball.
Yeah. I mean, Pittsburgh hasn't allowed a 100-yard rusher this year, but this kid's got the makings of it.
It's just, he's so good. I just want to give him the ball and see what he can keep doing. Give it to him back-to-back plays. Once he gets his shoe back on, obviously.
Brady! What's that?
We go with Freeman. Yeah, he's got another 4 or 5. This is a Denver rushing attack, by the way, Tony, that averages an NFL best 5.2 yards per attempt. It's pretty strong.
Very, and that's when they're successful. It's difficult because their play action game comes in. Keenum can move around. They're not very good in the drop back game. When they drop back and try and pass and move the chains consistently, that's why when they get behind, it can get troublesome. But when they can stay ahead, or right now at this point in the game, they can shorten this game very quickly by running this football.
Lindsey's still out of the eye. 1st and 10. Another carry by Freeman for 4. Best in the league.
See that
average yards per rush, but there's 22nd in terms of rush percentage. They've been playing behind a great many times.
Yeah, that's exactly what that comes into. But even today, I mean, pretty balanced. I mean, 23 and 15. 23 passes and 15 rushes, so we're getting closer now.
Lindsey back in. Gets the handoff. And he is knocked down by Hargrave.
Yeah, Hargrave's been coming on, starting to play some really good football. He's had stretches, but right now he's playing as good as I've seen him in a while.
He's a guy that Mike Tomlin was saying built like a nose tackle, so everybody wanted to just kind of like label him and say, oh, he's a nose tackle. But this is a kid, as he's pointed out, as we've seen, he can provide some pass rush. He can do a lot of different things. The league's starting to take notice. 3rd and 5.
Well, you got to get the protection right. You got to block him and then try and make sure you can find the other guy who's coming from somewhere else. It might just be one here, though.
Time to throw. Finds the open man. That's Hamilton with a yellow marker. Let's see if Hamilton's 13-yard catch will hold up. Deshaun, a 4th-round pick out of Penn State.
Holding defense number 24. This penalty has been declined. The result of the play is a 1st down.
Well, that's penalty, but this was outstanding by Case Keenum. Watch him walk up to the line, the quarterback, and he's going to pick the slot blitz out. Go ahead and play that and watch. He tells the line, hey, you're going out way out there. There's not a lot to tell you he's coming. That's where veteran quarterbacks get you. And because he does that, you see the tackle slide out and get him, so that way he can hang on to the ball. That's sometimes when you see pressure, quarterbacks can take it off their team with knowledge.
Straight drop back. Keenum's pass was deflected at the line. He was trying to get back to Sutton. He's been held in check.
Yeah, the ball gets tipped right at the line right there.
Tipped by L.T. Walton. And for the 2nd time, we've seen A.B. back on the bench, getting some oxygen. Sanders back into the game. Lindsey breaks it. Lindsey with a big jump before he's bounced out by Edmonds. Gain of 18.
Great block by the left guard, left tackle. Creates running room. And I tell you what, Lindsey's going to find that room. And you could tell him, he said, I like it. Keep it coming.
Emmanuel Sanders late in the 3rd quarter on that long diving attempt for a catch down the right sideline. They checked him for a concussion. He was cleared. He's returned to the field. Out there now on 1st down from the Pittsburgh 29. To Lindsey, who cannot make the grab, but look at all the Steelers that were there anyway. Flag at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, Watt might have got offsides. It's got to be that, or basically they were aligned improperly on offense. There's not a lot of options here.
Illegal shift, offense, 2 players moving, never reset prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty. Replay 1st down.
Once there's a motion, wide receivers can't move. And sure enough, wide receivers on the other side were shuffling their feet when there was a motion by Lindsey. Good call.
Another nail biter here at Broncos Stadium at Mile High. All 5 games this year have been decided by 4 points or fewer. He's got Hireman. And he picks up 16 and a first. Faked a set of screens. Found his tight end up the middle.
You're exactly right, Jim. He's going to fake screen left. And nope. Oh, it's going right. Nope. Right back in the middle. And Hireman likes it when it's that open in the middle of the field.
Hireman, second catch for 44.
I think they got to get creative. You got to run the football and get creative. That's how you're going to win this football game if you're Denver. Keep double moves, wheel routes, screens, different motions like this.
Now from the red zone. Again, they find Sanders. He returns and makes another play. 6 catches now for Sanders for 82 yards and a touchdown.
And Pittsburgh gets caught blitzing. When that motion comes across, communication gets tough. You don't know exactly where you're supposed to be. And that's the kind of, as you see Hireman, just a little banged up, but that's how you get people open when people are pressured.
Janovich, the fullback, along with Lindsey. First and goal from the 5. Rolling out is Keenum. Keenum's throw is caught by Sanders. Pickup of 3. Second and goal from the 2. Sanders says, no, it's at the 1. The official says, nope, we're going to spot that at 2. Nice try.
Oh, yeah, that's more 2-ish.
Now, Lindsey has had 4 rush touchdowns in the last 4 games. He's lined up behind Keenum, who will take the snap from under center. Second and goal.
Just toss it to him. Let him outrun you to the side.
Here he is. Lindsey slides in for the touchdown. His 5th in 5 games. And the Broncos have taken the lead.
This is outstanding. Mill Musgrave on this drive. Watch the motion come across. It's going to make these guys all be like, okay, do I go this way? Do I go that way? And it just gets you discombobulated a little bit. You don't get to just fire off. You see, no one really knows where that ball is. Like, Sensaball's right there in the hole. He just had no idea who had the ball.
Extra point down the middle by McManus. They cash in again on a takeaway. The Connor fumble. And then the 79-yard drive that ends in the hands of Lindsey for the lead. Lindsey with 99 yards on the ground and the touchdown to give the Broncos the lead at 24-17.
Quite the head of hair there, huh?
Oh, it's something else.
You could do that, can't you?
I wish. How I wish. Every follicle is a precious commodity these days.
Oh, that was good. That was good. A lot of missed opportunities today, don't you think?
Oh, my goodness. Starting with what? The blocked field goal the first time down the field.
There's points.
There's the big one, though.
There's points. There's points. That's in the red zone. Getting there almost, and then...
An interception was not in the package, but there was one of those as well.
Yeah, and that was at the 50, which means you were about to get down into the other side of the field. But not unlike last week, now it's time for Roethlisberger to put him on his shoulders and play his best football the last 9 minutes of the game.
That's James for 9. Last week, Roethlisberger led the Steelers to a fourth-quarter comeback win for the 41st time in his career. And look at the defense having a little exchange here. Sensaball,
well, they're talking
Hayward, and Watt.
That's the running play I just talked about. Sensaball was in that hole, and they're all talking about their gaps and who's got what based on that motion. That's why that motion was a fantastic job by Bill Musgrave. The miscommunication on defense.
Second and 1. Smith-Schuster almost able to break out of Yadam's tackle. That's 13 and another first. $11 for 151 and a touch. That happened to be 97 yards. And Ben's over 400, 410.
They're going to have to throw it to win it now, but I can tell you, you're going to put your right tackle on an island when you're trailing against Von Miller. And this is the matchup at the end of this game when you have to come back in these games. It makes it difficult. He's a game wrecker. He's not in right now, though.
There's Roethlisberger, sideline. Brown tiptoeing and out of bounds.
Let's see.
Ruling on the field as he was out.
Oh, he reached that right foot out. I can't tell. It looks like he's so good at keeping it in. Oh, yeah. Wow, what a throw getting your arm hit. It's 20 yards down the sideline.
Inside 8 minutes. Yeah, he shakes it off. 2nd and 10. Take it across the middle for a pickup of about 5 to Brown.
All right, 3rd down.
You know, as we get later in this game, Tony, let's remember again that Pittsburgh used 2 timeouts in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah,
that could be critical.
There's so many critical plays that have happened so far. It's hard to go through them. You're exactly right. And now Von Miller comes in. Let's see if you have a plan for him. Tight end is on his side. This place is loud. Right there, the tight end should chip him. If he leaves right away, he's coming fast.
3rd and 6. Lofset. Yadam on the coverage. No flag. Tell you, Yadam has stepped up in the 2nd half.
He has. Another good pick by Elway this year in the draft.
Got 22 first and second year players on the roster, but the rookie class, I mean, it is blockbuster. And now with 7:19 to go, Jordan Berry to try to pin it deep. Short kick. Fair catch, 16-yard line. Craig Kraft holds on to it. 24-17 Denver.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon. The best unlimited is on Verizon, America's most awarded network. USAA, official NFL salute to service partner. And by McDonald's new classic meal deal at participating McDonald's.
With the lead and the ball, Keenum and the Broncos start from the 16. Lindsey 1 yard away from becoming the first back for 100 against the Steelers this year. He's got that plenty more. Look what the quarterbacks have done in this game. Roethlisberger over 400. Keenum's played a nice game. The numbers not quite the Star Wars numbers that you see on the left-hand column, but the 2 touchdown passes and directing this offense, and his coach Vance Joseph telling us yesterday morning, the best leader we've had around here since Peyton. He's tough, especially in the critical moments. He's got this me versus the world attitude. He's been a great addition, said his head coach. Got a 2nd and 2. It's Lindsey. Again, able to find anything that might be open. That flag comes out.
Well, they had an extra tackle in. They're going to the ground and pound right there, you see. As Quanjoy came in, although they might call legal formation on it. But I think it's okay because he was playing the tight end position, but they must have been on the ball with 2 tight ends in.
Illegal formation offense. Number 79, who reported eligible, who was covered up by a wide receiver. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
They just signed him this week, the former Bill.
But that's not on him. That's the tight end who lined up right outside of him. He was on the ball. The tight end also got on the ball thinking that was a tackle next to him. So that's where you get in a little bit of trouble. He's like, oh, the tackle's next to me, I'm on the ball. And in reality, he was coming in to play tight end. And then the next guy should have been off.
Quanjo comes out. It'll be 2nd and 7.
You know, that's the thing, though. The only thing that comes up with Pittsburgh, like a day like today, is the turnovers. They're -3. They're going to be -6 now at the end of this game if it plays out like this.
Back to Lindsey. And a third and call it 4 coming up. And we're heading to New York for an update.
Luck in historic neighborhood territory.
That's right. 8 straight games with 3 or more TDs. The second longest streak ever in NFL history. Only second to Tom Brady. Eric Ebron, 2 on the day, 11 on the season. The game is knotted at 24.
Back to Jim Nantz and Tony Romo.
Oh boy, and again, that one's so critical with both teams coming in at 5-5. 3.5 to play there. Here's a 3rd and 4. Steelers, again, with only 1 timeout, need to get the ball back to the offense as soon as possible.
They're going to come after him with 5 guys, one-on-one up front.
And they take him down. Hargrave, along with Hayward, get the sack.
I mean, they just take McGovern and Wilkinson. Look at the right 2 right here. Watch that side. Hargrave with an incredible move, and Hayward just pushes right in. And you know what? You said it earlier. Hargrave isn't just a nose tackle.
That's right.
That was juiced right outside, got around him. Little swim move. That was special.
I'll tell you what was big was the penalty at 2nd and 2.
Exactly.
Back up to 2nd and 7 and
Got them out of what they wanted to do.
Exactly. Flag down. Switzer backpedals. Now steps up. That breaks the tackle. And the flag down in the middle of the field. Another one on the sideline. Steelers the most penalized team in the league when it comes to special teams penalties called.
That's what I'm saying. For a team that we see is really complete, the reason it's not better is the turnover differential, and then some of those penalties, just the things that really hurt you. It's like if they just shore up some of the things that are normal for them, it's really hard to beat them. Like today, Denver's playing great, but Pittsburgh absolutely has played a good football game, but the ball and some of these penalties, it's hurt them, and that's been the difference.
Well, they got, it looks like 2 penalties to sort out. It gives Fitchner and his quarterback a little extra time to discuss this series coming up.
All right, Tony, we're going to need you with a call here in 5.
There are fouls against both teams that allow an option of Pittsburgh.
Oh, he's going to go again, and was that the call? Okay, it looks like Pittsburgh has the option to take the ball where they caught it. Are they going to take it, or are they going to re-punt? I'm guessing that's what the issue is. Or we could talk some more about it.
Fouls against both teams that will allow the play to be replayed. Player running out of bounds. Offense. During the return of the kick, illegal block in the back, receiving team. Pittsburgh has exercised the option to replay the down. 4th down.
That's interesting. Pittsburgh gets to make that call.
And instead of taking the football somewhere around its own 35, going to make him kick it again. Of course, last week, Mike Tomlin had a decision to make on a penalty that gave the Jaguars a chance at like 3rd and 12 instead of 4th and 2, and it paid off. And it did. It was a big momentum switching play in the second half of that game. Let's get a chance to see what Switzer can do, who had 7 kick returns for touchdowns in college, which was one off the all-time NCAA record. See, where's number 10? His teammate and roommate wears number 10 in the NFL, Mitch Trubisky. He backpedals again. He's got it at the 38. Surveys the field, steps up, and they gained about 10 out of that. Roethlisberger looking for some more late game heroics. He's down 7, 4.5 to play. Here we go. On first down, Roethlisberger goes down. Von Miller got there.
Well, you know what Mike Tomlin told us? He goes, this guy is a game wrecker. He's so fast off the ball, so explosive, almost like he's offsides. And you just saw it right there, almost like he's offsides, but he's so gifted at that timing.
That's what Roethlisberger said too. I literally feel like he's offsides almost every play because he's across that line so fast, but he's not. 2nd and 16.
You think they're going to chip him on this play?
Gets it back and more. That's Smith-Schuster getting out of bounds with Simmons on the coverage.
On this drive, you cannot let the other team's best player beat you. If you're the head coach and you're of the Steelers and you're Tomlin, you cannot let their best player beat you. Von Miller needs to get a chip or somebody right in front of him where he has to take a different angle on every single snap. If you don't, he can change the game, strip sack. He's done it so many times. Don't let him beat you if you're Pittsburgh.
On first down. Incomplete. That's Harris. Had a hand in there, the dying Switzer.
Wow, great coverage by Harris. And that's going to be a tough matchup. They're going to have to get Schuster or AB inside. So this is going to be tough because they continue to play two-man, which means two guys are helping really wide. These two guys are helping on AB and Schuster outside. The ball's going to have to go to one of these two guys inside. Someone's got to win their matchup.
2nd and 10. On the run, same play to the other side, but it's only good for 4 to Switzer.
And you see that matchup, Jim, that's Chris Harris on Switzer. If you're Pittsburgh, it's like, this is where the ball has to go, but it's not great. It's a tough matchup. Harris is good as anybody at the nickel spot in the league.
And now you got a 3rd and 6. And only 1 timeout.
I'm in 4-down territory. If you're Roethlisberger, you don't have to take the chance. I don't love this protection, though. Miller's by the bottom by himself. You better fake a handoff.
Gets rid of it. Open Smith-Schuster to the 20.
Oh, just they try to come up with a different way to get a double team out there, and Roethlisberger has seen it all. You see the corner? He's running to take the safety spot. And just Roethlisberger sees that right at the snap. And a guy's coming out from the line of scrimmage to take underneath like he's in the flat.
That goes for 19 for number 19, who's having a monster game at 13 for 189 and a touch. Miller's not in on this play. It's 1st and 10 from the 20. To AB, and he tries to get out. And he's to about the 15.
If I'm Pittsburgh, I'm letting this go to the 2-minute warning. Don't run a play here. All you're doing is giving Denver more time if you score. You have no problem with the clock here.
Well, they're at the line of scrimmage. Second and 5.
Yep. The only reason you would do this is because Miller's not in the game. That's the only reason.
Looking for options. Wide open field for Roethlisberger. Trying to find it. Pylon, he's out of bounds at the 3, and we reached the 2-minute warning. Ran away from Gotsis.
And he's running for it.
Yes, you know.
Here we go.
What a finish coming up.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Dell and the XPS 13 with Dell Cinema. And by Bud Light, reminding you not to drink and ride your horse.
Denver and Pittsburgh coming down to the last 2 minutes. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson. on site. 1st and goal for the Steelers after the Roethlisberger scrambled. Over the head of Smith-Schuster. Harris on the coverage.
They went right at Harris, and really they're just saying, we like Smith-Schuster, and the ball's just a little wide. He does give him a shot there. That was a good route, and he was open. I mean, Pittsburgh obviously can run the football. They have all the time in the world. They got timeouts. You can do anything here. The front tells you you can't run, though. This is not a good front to run against.
They're going to run it, though. Connor off left tackle and surrounded by a pile of Broncos, including Todd Davis.
I like the fact you call a run, but then when you get up to the line, when you get that look, it's just really difficult to think you were going to get that one in. But I think each time you came up here, we're in 4-down territory. Call a run. If you get the look, you run it. If you don't, that means your receivers got matchups. One-on-one outside. Heads up for Ben buying time here.
3rd and goal. Over the top and intercepted! Intercepted by Shelby Harris.
An incredible finish. Harris pops out as a D tackle. And Roethlisberger has a fake, and he's supposed to throw it right behind him. And Harris with the interception of his life. Watch the tackle right here. He's a nose, and he's going to just pop back.
There was nothing there. I mean, there was absolutely nothing there. There was another defender between Harris and Brown.
Oh, no, he would have got intercepted probably.
Yeah, but Roby was in the back of the end zone, had position on Brown. You know, the play was completely out of sync from the snap. The snap was a little bit wide of the mark.
And that's why
Roby, look at Roby's coverage here.
It's intercepted by 2 guys.
And again, Pittsburgh is out of timeouts. Denver is going to win this game.
Denver keeping their season alive. They've taken on some of the best teams in the NFL and given them as much trouble as anybody. How big is that for Vance Joseph and this football team? And the winning streak dies for Roethlisberger.
The winning streak is over. Next week, Pittsburgh will take on the Chargers. And those 2 teams, the Steelers and the Chargers, both lost in the last 2 weeks to the Broncos.
Wow. The ball today, that was what it came down to. Too many turnovers, too many plays. The ball got loose. Pittsburgh went up and down on the field and just one too many turnovers.
Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes, and the robots cleaning up a nuclear disaster, followed by new episodes of God Friended Me, NCIS Los Angeles, and Madam Secretary tonight, only CBS. Yeah, the play looked like it was doomed from the get-go.
You were exactly right. That snap made you play really fast as a quarterback. You all of a sudden had to get the ball and then fake the handoff, and then you're supposed to read it after. Usually you catch it and you're looking right in the middle of the field, faking the handoff. Roethlisberger had the time to get thrown off instantly.
You know, it was Shelby Harris who almost got the Roethlisberger on the 97-yard touchdown pass to Smith-Schuster, and he ends up making the play to save the game.
And possibly the season.
They're a game out of the 6th spot.
And their schedule gets much easier from here. They've gone through Murderers Row.
Yeah, they've gone through such a tough stretch. Now they've got Cincinnati on the road, San Francisco, Cleveland here, at Oakland, and another matchup with the Chargers, Week 17. Playoff picture now, the Steelers go to 4th now, 4th seed at the moment, behind Kansas City, New England, and Houston which plays tomorrow. There you see Baltimore right now has the tiebreaker edge at 6-5 over Indianapolis, and there are the Broncos at 5-6. They had to have this one.
We talked about it. If not, they were going to have to run the table. I think 9-7 gets you in, but 5-6 with the schedule they have, I mean, you'd almost think they're going to go 9-7 now, because you're going to give them a win in at least, you know, all those games except for probably the Chargers. What a game, Jim.
Oh, it really was amazing from the start. Final score, Denver 24, Pittsburgh 17. 60 minutes coming up. Then God Friended Me, NCIS Los Angeles, and Madam Secretary. For Tony, Tracy, and all the crew, Jim Nance saying so long from Denver. Tony, I'll see you next week in Atlanta, pal.
Let's do it again.
You've been watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 53.